What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Bret on the show. What's up, Bret?
Hey man, how's it going? Glad to be back.
Good to have you back. Dustin, what's up, man? Good to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yep, good to have the crew together and talk some football. This is the 2020 season preview for the Buffalo Bills. So let's get into this. First of all, Bret, what's your thoughts? The Bills went 10-6 last year, lost in the wild card round at the Texans. What's your impressions on Josh Allen? I mean, he's made the playoffs already in his second year in the NFL. Going into his third year, now they add Stephon Diggs to that receiving core with John Brown and Cole Beasley and those guys. Are you impressed with Josh Allen so far in his career, and what do you think his upside is?
I don't think that he's gotten, to that point where fans there feel fully comfortable. I mean, they're excited, obviously. It's a big change for them. He's, like you said, they went 10-6 last year. He got into the playoffs his second year.
They had that playoff game, too. They were up big and then blew it late.
Right. The Bills are, a couple of years ago thinking about the Bills, you think that you wouldn't be talking about playoffs.
Yeah.
And, where they're even going to be rebuilding and whatnot. But Allen's come in there and he took a lot of heat right away because, he wasn't they just stepped in there and picked it up for him right away. But that's, everybody expects that.
He was pretty raw as a prospect, I think.
Right. But he's developing, and now that he's into his third year, this is the year that most professional athletes
take a big step.
And we'll see what happens, especially without, with the news and the rest of the division. It's up for grabs now, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Tom Brady out. It's a wide open opportunity for Buffalo. Dustin, what do you think? I mean, Josh Allen, now he's got a true number one wide receiver coming in, Stephon Diggs. Do you expect a big jump in Josh Allen's production in 2020?
I do. Last season, he threw for 20 touchdowns. Just adding Stephon Diggs adds at least another 7 to that stat. And
does that increase his turnovers as well, though?
Yeah, adding Stephon Diggs adds more of the ability to hold on to the football just because of the way Stephon Diggs can create space.
Yeah, possession receiver, reliable, number one option. I mean, who's Josh Allen's number one option been?
Probably Cole Beasley.
Yeah, Cole Beasley last year. John Brown. I mean, I don't know. So I think it's a really good upgrade. Josh Allen making the playoffs for the first time since looking to get a playoff win for the first time since 1995 for the Bills, back when Jim Kelly was the quarterback. They add Stephon Diggs. Bret, how big of an upgrade is Stephon Diggs? Do you think that he will be just as impactful in Buffalo as he was in Minnesota?
I think that Diggs has the upside to be that guy for the Bills that puts them over the top when you're speaking about Allen, going into his third year and becoming the quarterback that franchise is hoping that he can be. Obviously, Diggs is the kind of player that it's exactly something, that if you had to ask yourself how could you put your third-year quarterback now in the best position to succeed?
Absolutely.
I think that would suffice, extra on top of that, I would say, for that situation. So there's, you the decisions, you made the right calls as the franchise and with your off season. Now it's time to just play out on the field.
Yeah, they had to give up a decent amount for Stephon Diggs. I believe it was like a first, fifth, and sixth, and then a fourth rounder next year. So hopefully it works out and they get the most out of him. It feels like the Bills are going like all in, trying to win now. They realize Tom Brady's out of the division. There's an opportunity to take the division. And,
Right.
um, Dustin, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a chance for the Bills to really make big improvements. I mean, they got Josh Norman as well in the secondary to go with Tre'Davious White. Dustin, do you think that Josh Norman is still a solid corner, or is he starting to show his age and starting to slow down?
I mean, he's still a solid guy who can, get 4 or 5 picks a season, but he's not what he used to be.
Yeah. And I think he'll be the number 2. Tre'Davious White seems to be the number 1 shutdown corner, a really up-and-coming corner. So I like him. For a number 2, that's a good signing for them. They did lose Shaq Lawson and Jordan Phillips in free agency, as well as corner Kevin Johnson. Bret, what was your thoughts on Devin Singletary in his rookie year? He had Frank Gore with him, as well as TJ Yeldon, but a pretty good season from the rookie Devin Singletary. Now, no more Frank Gore. So it'll be Singletary, TJ Yeldon, maybe rookie Zach Moss, but a lot more responsibility on Devin Singletary's shoulders. Do you expect a big year out of him this year?
Again, with everything coming into play, you said that they lost Gore, but with the offseason that they've had, as far as the additions, to be able to put the key components around when you lose that, you can't expect, I don't know if his load is going to be different, or if it's going to be less or more important. I mean, obviously it's going to be important for the team, but I think it's good that with the loss of Gore and the addition of Diggs, that you've balanced it out now to where you can have an even attack offensively. And again, things look good for the Bills. They just have to put it together on the field, and if they can make things mesh or come together, then that will now's the time to do it. Like you said, Brady's gone. The division's out there. They were 10-6 last year, so you don't want to go down from there. They got all the pieces there. Not a lot of teams have been striving for something like that for years. So
if you're Bret, if you're a Bills fan going into this year, what are expectations and what's unacceptable? Is it playoffs or bust?
I mean, your expectations every year, obviously are to win the championship, but you have those realistic expectations too. Now, with like we said, we've been touching on it with Brady being gone. You have to say, as a Bills fan, we have to win the division this year.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, you can still make the playoffs obviously without winning the division, but it won't feel as good, as an accomplishment. Like, now is your chance to do it. So if you don't win the division this year, but you make the playoffs, what's your thought next year? Then it's not make the playoffs, so it's, if they take that step and take that leap, they could be something over there for a couple of years to come here.
Now, Dustin, tell me what your thoughts are of this analysis. Now, we saw a really good 2018, or a pretty good 2018 from Mitch Trubisky, right? And Bills fans are going to hate me for this, but I feel like Trubisky and Josh Allen are sort of similar in inconsistent arm accuracy. And everyone knows Josh Allen has a rocket arm, but inconsistent accuracy with his arm, and a great runner with the ball for a quarterback. Would you be worried with increased, bringing in Stephon Diggs, increased expectations from the Bills? Dustin, would you be worried as a Bills fan about a possible letdown year or regression out of Josh Allen in year 3, like we saw with Trubisky?
I do not. Like I said, I think Stephon Diggs helps him get better and over the top to where the Bills need to be. And as for the question that you asked him about Devin, Singletary.
Yeah.
I just had to put in on something. He, I think, is going to be a top 5 running back in the next 2 years. I mean, his rookie season, he almost rushed for 1,000 yards already.
Yeah.
And that's probably – and he probably would have reached 1,000 had he not have had to share the backfield with Frank Gore. So now that Gore's gone, that's definitely going to help that offense. They're going to be a great team.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Singletary as well. He's a smaller running back. He kind of reminds me of Maurice Jones-Drew, and he's got great hands for a running back, and that's something you have to have nowadays. You have to be a multi-dimensional running back, and Devin Singletary can do that. I really like their running back room. But you got Singletary, T.J. Yeldon's a solid number 2, and then rookie Zach Moss, who they drafted in the 3rd round, I believe out of Utah, is a really good addition to that room as well. Looking defensively here at the Bills, I mean, we talked about Josh Norman, Tre'Davious White, Ed Oliver, Mario Addison, Quentin Jefferson out of Seattle, Trent Murphy. So they're going to be solid on that side of the ball as well. Bret, what's your expectations for the Bills? What's your prediction for the 2020 season? Where would you have their win total at?
Well, as far as everything based off of, how they progress in the offseason from their 10-6 season last year, I would say it has to be somewhere right around that beginning double-digit area, 10, 11 wins. And that might be all it takes to win that division. I mean, obviously that division's been handled steadily for years, but now is the time, and I see them being able to push over the top because of the key contributions that they were able to give themselves as far as the pieces surrounding Allen there. And like you said, that defense is pretty stout. So I see them winning the division and being in, 10, 11 wins, possibly. Now as far as the playoffs, that's a huge difference. So
all it takes is one win in the playoffs to be a successful season for Buffalo. Just one win.
You're right.
I'm right there with you. I've got them in the 9 to 11 win range. They have to finish above 500. 9 to 11 wins seems about right. I don't see them going 12-4. I really don't see them going 11-5. I think 9, 10 wins right in there. But it worries me. I mean, knowing the Buffalo Bills, knowing their history, I'm ready for a letdown, to be honest. I'm ready for – they got the talent, but those expectations are finally there. And it's tough once the target's on you and the division's wide open to follow through on that. So we'll see if they can rise to the pressure that they find themselves in going into 2020. Dustin, where do you have the Bills going? Do you agree 9 to 10 wins around there?
Looking at their schedule, I actually have them getting at least 11 to 12 wins just because their schedule is so weak.
Okay.
And when you mention a letdown, you have to think those teams that were letdown teams didn't have a franchise quarterback. They were bouncing from one quarterback to another. Now they have somebody that they trust, that they can put, be a leader, somebody who's going to help a locker room during a playoff time.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's a good take. I think the pressure's on, so we're going to see a lot out of the Bills this year. It starts with making the playoffs. I know they want to win the division. That's got to be a goal. But number one has to be at least just make the playoffs. And if they can find a way to scratch one playoff win together, that'll be enough for Bills fans. It'll, and get them to the divisional round or whatever. But, a lot of expectations on this team. If they do win 11 or 12 wins, that's going to be huge. But I'm telling you, if they go 11, 12 wins and lose their first game of the playoffs, Bills fans are still going to be unhappy and wanting more. So we'll see what happens. I can't wait. It's going to be a hell of a season. Thanks, guys, for joining me on the Bills season preview. And hopefully for Buffalo fans, it's a big year. Maybe we'll be saying 2020 AFC East Division champs Buffalo Bills in the future. So thanks for coming on, guys. Good shit, Bret. Good shit, Dustin. And we'll be back next week. Thanks for the support, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Have a good one. Peace out.